all of your forwarding and freight shipping needs. We at Trin Forwarding International are committed to product delivery. At Trin Forwarding, we have the much needed experience, professionalism, and due diligence in freight forwarding, shipping, and cargoes. We deliver with timeliness and precision. You can reach out to us at our Caribbean office in Trinidad and Tobago, telephone number 868-624-6250, or our Florida USA office at 305-887-9724.
Welcome to my journey to Islam on Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. We are very blessed to have on this program a very unique, a very special guest all the way from the United Kingdom, and he is a world famous brother Yusuf Chambers, who is the founder of City Retreat Dawah Center in the United Kingdom. Welcome to the show, brother Yusuf.
Assalamu rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and thank you for having me on.
Beautiful. It's a pleasure. It's a blessing for us to have you on the show. So to our viewers out there, stay tuned as we continue this conversation.
Alhikmat Services Florida USA invites you to join our tour from Miami to Turkey to Medina and Mecca plus Umrah and Ramadan, which is equivalent to the blessings of Hajj. It will be from March 1st, 2024 to March 14th, 2024, led by Shaikh Shafayat. Cost per person is double for $37.50, triple for $36.50, and quad for $35.50. This includes airfare, hotels, transportation, as well as breakfast and dinner plus tours. It will be 5 nights in Turkey, 3 nights in Medina, and 3 nights in Mecca, but the cost of visas are not included. You will be visiting historic sites of Artul and Osman plus the Ottoman Empire, as well as visiting the Blue Mosque, Hagia Sophia, Topkapi Palace, plus many more sacred sites. For more information, please contact Alhikmat office at 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158. You can also email at alhikmat@alhikmat.com. Alhamdulillah, for free copies of the Holy Quran, contact Alhikmat Caribbean office at 1-868-325-8276. You can also follow us on Alhikmat TV, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, etc. For more information, you can also contact Alhikmat's Florida USA office. You can visit our website at www.alhikmat.com or call us at 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158.
Allahu ya Allahu ya Allahu, His throne extends over the heaven.
It's savings and big discounts when you shop at Fens nationwide. Upgrade your home or treat yourself to something special. Enjoy store-wide savings on furniture, appliances, electronics, bedroom, and so much more when you shop at Fens of Marbella, Chagonas, Pinal, and Piaco. Visit us in-store for more information or call 650-FENS, that's 650-3367, or check us out on Facebook, Fens of Trinidad and Tobago, serving generations.
So, brother Yusuf, tell us a little bit where you from. Are you originally from London? I saw in your bio, on your background resume bio, that you embraced Islam in 1992, and your dad is Irish and your mom English. So this is a very international combination we have here. So you tell us about your background, and I will interject here and there for the benefit of the audience to find out, because when you're based in one country, different things may relate differently in other parts of the world. So it's a pleasure for people to hear you. I know that you're well known worldwide. Every time people tune into YouTube, we see you come up there advertising, promoting, marketing. May Allah bless you. May Allah bless you for all these community services, khidmat that you do for humanity worldwide. May Allah really bless you and guide you and grant you and your family and give all of us the good in this world and the good in the hereafter. And I must say, really, it's a blessing for you to take time from your busy schedule to be with us on this show, My Journey to Islam on Alhikmat TV. So tell us, Brother Yusuf.
So basically, I mean, like I said, my father's Irish, my mother is English. We were born in a place called Woking in Surrey near London. And that was in 1964, a long time ago. And since I've traced my family heritage is back from the Irish side, they seem to be linked in with a Jewish heritage as well, from my father's side to my great grandmother back in France, and then my mother side, she is linked into France as well. So subhanallah, we got those type of places that are attacking the deen, you know. yes. Ironically, this is my ancestry is from these two groups of people. Well, not Jewish people, of course. We know that they're not per se attacking people. We're talking about French and the other place, which is formed on the basis of from some of our Jewish brethren. We don't need to mention the name of it.
Yes.
You know it.
yes, subhanallah. So what motivated you, and how it all happened in you becoming a Muslim? Because I know London, alhamdulillah, very blessed to have some very unique personalities whom Allah guided to the fold of Islam, and you are one of those international people whom Allah has guided there in the United Kingdom.
Well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He guided He guides our souls, and it's a mystery to everyone alive how people get guided. But as far as the steps that we take on that journey, we can sort of tell the history of that. We can say, look, I was born with that parentage, Catholic, nominally Catholic, didn't really practice their religion. My mother always complained about the convent where she was sort of raised up, and she used to get beaten by the Catholic nuns. So she hated religion. My father had arguments with his father and ended up leaving the house at 15, and then they met up in Woking. They got married, and when they had me, I was a bit of a rebel, you could say. I didn't really have a cause, a rebel without a cause. And as I grew up in school, I challenged the state system. I was quite shy and retiring, but underneath it all, I had my views here. And I didn't read. I didn't want to study. I didn't want to listen to authority. And it was just inbuilt within me that my fitra, as we know, the Arabic word meaning the natural disposition, was informing me not just to accept things on face value, but to dive in deeply and do investigations in order that you would be informed about decisions that you made, that they were going to be the best way for you, whether you go right or left or straight on, like you do in every juncture of life. You take either left, right, or you go straight on, or you stop and you don't do anything. You go back sometimes. So all of those decisions were, it was important for me that we made rational, intelligent judgments based on knowledge, based on rationality, And so I would ask myself the question: why am I going to school? Why am I reading this book? Who am I reading the book for? What's this school? Who's educating me? Why are they educating me? And even at those early years, I decided not to study. And I remember I was, like in the first school I went to, I was the only person who hadn't actually read a book in its entirety in the library. And there were kids who'd read all of them. So yeah, right from the early age, I kind of rebelled.
I love that what you say, and I can really relate with that, alhamdulillah, because our background, Brother Yusuf, in the Caribbean there, we were brought there 160, 70 years ago, 75 or something to that effect, from India by the British. So a lot of us there in the Caribbean, I mean, I speak for myself, not everybody, but many people fall into the same category. And that's how, as you were speaking, I'm like, subhanallah, that's exactly what happens in the world. We grew up under the British rule in the Caribbean, and especially in Trinidad and Tobago, where I was born. I'm like the fifth generation who came from India. And we grew up very Christian, very, very, very westernized, no culture. We call it our own Caribbean culture. When people want to have a good time, they go on a Caribbean cruise. So it's, it means it's all about fun and play. It's all about fun and play. Astaghfirullah, na'uzubillah. So in that sort of growing up, Brother Yusuf, my lifestyle, technically, yes, there were mosques and there were this and that, but we lost that whole concept of religion and praying 5 times a day and, having to fast in Ramadan. I'm talking about 45, 50 years ago, you see. Now, alhamdulillah, there is a whole different scenario with the hidayah and guidance from Allah that is taking place in the world. Really, really, subhanallah. I ended up in Christian school. I ended up getting a scholarship to become a priest, Catholic school. But you mentioned a point, and I don't know why. I thought maybe I was just rebellious and mad, but you made a good point. When Allah wants to choose you, He gives you that instinct that you don't just accept things. You don't accept things unless you really do some investigation and interrogation. And I somewhat had that sort of mentality when I was in college in the West Indies. I never would accept things. Even teachers are teaching, I'm like, but what is this they're saying? That does not make sense. It's just from the books, and those books are written by men. It's from the books written by men, but remember, I was not practicing Islam in any big thing. I was going to church. I was praying to Jesus. All these 9 yards on this in this Christian Catholic school. So as you were talking, it came to my mind. But that's a way that Allah is opening up your mind to look deeper into the reality of life, because Quran and Islam and Allah and Sunnah takes a whole different perspective, as opposed to just accepting things blindly. So as you were talking, it makes so much sense. Allah was just opening up the doors for you, that you don't just follow the world and get into the materialistic lifestyle and monkey see, monkey do thing. Allah really had you from day one being groomed to come into this path. So let us know how this path all opened up there and then now.
Yeah, indeed. Having done the first bit of school, I remember there was one particular instance which kind of informed me, because they had already demarcated me as being the guy who didn't want to study, and therefore he was they actually put you in the dunce section. They used to call you a dunce then. Remedial or dunce, or with mental deficiencies, deficient in some way, that he wasn't accepting what we were telling him. He wasn't prepared to learn. He wasn't ready to read. So I was in the remedial set, and I remember I thought, and that put me down with the rest of the schoolmates. They considered me to that's that Tim Chambers. What an idiot. And so that then further alienated me from the mainstream society.
Okay.
So maybe this is a way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if He'd allow me to be part of the in crowd, then I wouldn't have been asking so many questions then. I would have been. So one day, a guy called David Dilly, he took me under his wing. He showed me how to play football, and he taught me how to play chess. And he entered me into the school championship after a number of losses and games that we played together. And I remember in that championship that I got to the final because, so there's this guy who's been demarcated as the dunce of the school, and he's in the remedial sets, and he's a bit of a pariah, he's a bit of a outcast, and suddenly he gets to the championship of the chess final, and I get awarded this. I come second because I'm playing one of the friends. I can't remember, it was one of the guys who I'd actually got quite friendly with, and I felt embarrassed to beat him, so I let him win. And he anyway, so the headmaster gives this award to this guy, and I remember he nearly fell off the stage when he announced my name as second in the championship. So that was one of the defining moments of just smashing all the protocols of school.
Well, Brother Yusuf, we got to go on a short break at this point in time. And when we come back, we will continue this very interesting story of your lifetime and how you came into the path of Islam and the whole 9 yards and what happened. So to our viewers out there, stay tuned. When we come back, we will continue this conversation with Brother Yusuf Chambers from the United Kingdom. He is the founder of City Retreat Dawah Center in the UK. Stay tuned, inshallah.
Dawah and Interfaith Institute presents for the first time in USA Dawah and Interfaith training with education in world religions from religious professors and spiritual leaders of different faiths. This is a 6-month weekend course designed for brothers and sisters local, national, and international who are seeking to learn the importance of Dawah and better understanding of faith and cultures. For more information, please contact 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158. You can also contact via email at alhikmat@alhikmat.com or visit our website www.alhikmat.com. Alhikmat Services Florida USA invites you to join our tour from Miami to Turkey to Medina and Mecca plus Umrah and Ramadan, which is equivalent to the blessings of Hajj. It will be from March 1st, 2024 to March 14th, 2024, led by Shaikh Shafayat. Cost per person is double for $37.50, triple for $36.50, and quad for $35.50. This includes airfare, hotels, transportation, as well as breakfast and dinner plus tours. It will be 5 nights in Turkey, 3 nights in Medina, and 3 nights in Mecca, but the cost of visas are not included. You will be visiting historic sites of Artul and Osman plus the Ottoman Empire, as well as visiting the Blue Mosque, Hagia Sophia, Topkapi Palace, plus many more sacred sites. For more information, please contact Alhikmat office at 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158. You can also email at alhikmat@alhikmat.com. Alhamdulillah, for free copies of the Holy Quran, contact Alhikmat Caribbean office at 1-868-325-8276. You can also follow us on Alhikmat TV, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, etc. For more information, you can also contact Alhikmat's Florida USA office. You can visit our website at www.alhikmat.com or call us at 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158.
Allah, ya Allah, ya Allah, His throne extends over the heavens.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to my journey to Islam on Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. Once more, it is a pleasure to have with us on today's program Brother Yusuf Chambers from the United Kingdom. We had a wonderful conversation before we went on a break on his upbringing and his school days, etc., and his thought process and the guidance from Allah and how he used to think as a young boy growing up in his time. So, Brother Yusuf, as we were saying, tell us, you had reached that aspect on, I think, where you came second in that competition, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the chess championship, and then the JJ Hook, he gives me the award. And he nearly falls off the stage in shock when he realizes it's me, because the only other times he ever sees me is when he's disciplining me with the cane, because he used to get the cane, for not doing the work we were set to do. So then they had corporal punishment, they had physical violence, they used all sorts of things. And funny enough, there was more respect in those days. You used to get trouble with the police officer, you used to get trouble with the headmaster and then your parents, and you were grounded and you had no respite from any one in the community as well. Yeah, so that happened, and then I got to the end of school. I didn't learn much. I hadn't learned much, apart from the fact that I was very different. I was odd. I got to the secondary school, really, the age of 15, I hadn't accumulated any facts enough to sit the exam. So they advised me, they guided me out of the door. So I left school at the age of 15 with nothing. Well, I had my fitra in place. I still had my fitra, which was telling me question everything, look at everything, don't accept things on face value. And that was what I had. That was the qualification I had to be a young adult, leaving schools, leaving the prison of schools. I mean, we refer to them as prisons. I still refer to them as prisons as well. Now they even have massive, fences drawn around them, all around them. They're like penitentiaries. They are like prisons. And they're now, there are rules and regulations. You have to wear the uniform, otherwise you get sent home, you get disciplined for the slightest issue. And it's become much, much more apparent about how those are kind of modeled on prisons right now, more than any time when I was growing up, because we had some sort of freedoms there. I left school, and then very shortly after that, I ended up just leaving home. I just left my mother. I was brought up in a single parent house most of my childhood. So I just ran off because none of it made sense. Even the relationship I had with my mother, she wasn't guiding me to understand my fitra. She was just telling me, go to school, do what you're told, don't question things, just get on with it, play dumb, and everything will be fine. Anyway, I wasn't very good at communicating with her either, and we didn't really have the best relationship then. Anyway, so I left. I just didn't write a letter. I just walked out one day, and I went to live with my extended family. And about a year later, I left them. So at the age of 16, I was out on my own. I then went through a succession of around 17 different addresses in a period of 2 years. I just moved on. I was a rolling stone. Part of my DNA is of gypsy blood inside me anyway. So I guess I was following that, And I went from job to job to job. I did stay in one job for about 2.5 years, actually. But generally speaking, what I really learned was that I was a round peg in a square hole, and I needed to do something about it. I needed to figure something out. There was something missing, and I couldn't work out what it was. And then after going through literally 3 years of this, I decided, look, I need to go back to study, because the world, the top 5% of the world, they go to university. So I said, let me go to the top 5% and see what they're upon. So I struggled. I had no qualifications. I had no maths. I didn't even know how to string out a sentence then, because literally it was, I'd chosen that path. I went back to night school, went to do my English and my maths, got a letter from the teacher then to say, oh, look, I've got sufficient knowledge in these subjects to do an access course to university. I did the access course to university. It took me 2 years, and I got to the university, and I'm thinking, this is my big opportunity. This is my big chance to learn something about why I was put in this planet. I'm going to go with the top 5% of the world, in this red brick university, Sussex. I got into Sussex. I got there, and I realized that most of the people were 18, 19, 20, and they hadn't got a clue. In fact, They had less clue than I did. So I ended up going with the mature students and the PhD students, talking to them and mixing with them and trying to work out, a way forward to understand. I became a socialist. I started selling Socialist Worker Party papers in the street. I started, dabbling with Marxism. And then, something happened to me. I mean, I realized that some of the guys I was in the party with, because I thought, at least there would be fairness for all men and women. There would be equality for men and women. But then, I'd be talking to them and they say, what we want is something better for us and our family. We just want more money. We want more of this and more of that.
So how old were you at this time? All this is happening at around what age?
This is between the age of 21 to 23, those type of ages. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's when I was really quite rebellious, but I was just looking for anything that would give me a lead to find out what was the purpose of life and what was I doing here.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So there was a point then that I decided, look, after being at the university, just prior to that, there's something I missed out really, which is quite a shocking sort of wake-up call, if you like, was when I traveled. So I started traveling. I left England. I went on an interrailing trip. We used to do interrailing. You used to pay like £100 and you could go on any train in Europe for 1 month.
Subhanallah.
So we traveled. Yeah, it wouldn't happen now because we're not part of Europe, and you probably get stopped at every border and man-made constructs, man-made, these tyrannical borders that stop us from being together, that stop us from going visit each other, that create these artificial boundaries that create refugees and create economic migrants in the world, Yes. So anyway, I crossed quite a lot of these borders all the way to Greece, Peloponnese Peninsula. I went to Italy, and I landed in a place called Pompeii. I was with some friends, and we went around Pompeii, and it was an eye-opener. I remember the pizza was pretty good there as well. It was the best pizza in the world, by the way. If you want to go to Pompeii, you get the best pizza.
Inshallah.
Inshallah, yeah.
Yes.
Deep south there near Napoli and Bari. And so anyway, in 79 AD, Mount Vesuvius had erupted on that place, this massive volcano. And there was about 3 million people impacted, apparently, according to historians, which I find very difficult to believe. There's so many people there. And there was it was a hugely successful civilization there in Pompeii. And, it was extremely rich, but it was very oppressive. They used to kill the Christians there. They used to crucify Christians there. They used to any believers used to be rounded up and tortured and so on and so forth. And when we were going through, because I don't know if you know this, but all the streets are preserved because there was this molten lava that came on the place I think it was in the early around 1920 or something. They started unearthing this place. They chiseled it out and they poured plaster of Paris into all of these areas that they found underneath and they created molds of people and animals and things as they were dying. So they had this real life reenactment, a physical reenactment of when Mount Vesuvius had destroyed this place. Anyway, I was walking down these streets and seeing all these figures and seeing all these shop fronts, either side of me. And the shop fronts, some of the streets were of men who preferred men, of women that preferred women, of all sorts of really eye-opening, thought-provoking stuff. And I thought to myself at that very moment in time that something happened in 79 AD here, and it was something to do with whatever created this planet whatever created this world, whatever created the universe, didn't like what was going on. There was a street for bestiality. And the signs are clear on the shop fronts. And I remember this being wow. It was a wow moment in my life. Apart from the pizza, it was this as well. And it never left me. And it triggered something inside me to keep on the journey of some sort of faith. And then I kept traveling backwards and forwards away from the UK to meet different people of different cultures. And then when I was at the university, I tried to find similar people. So I found the Hindus, I found Christians, I found Buddhists. I started doing Buddhist meditation. For 3 months, I did nothing but Buddhist meditation, right? Transcendental meditation where you breathing, deep breathing and yogic positions and stuff like that.
Right.
And so this is where it all started, is from, like I said, these wake-up calls that I've had, these defining moments in my life, which then led me to have to do more and more research. And it started a kind of mechanism inside me, in my soul, that says you need to find yourself and you need to go out and discover the world's faiths. So I spent about 11 years on that journey. First of all, it wasn't just like a few days. Buddhism, so I sat with the Buddhist one day, and I said to him, he was like the guru, he was a white man like me. Whatever white man means, because white, what does it mean? Does it really have any bearing, on the facts of us being humans and being very similar in every shape or form, apart from where we're born and, ethnic origins? Do they have any bearing? Well, they do, because there are some who are oppressed more, and we should take that into account. But however, as I was traveling and going back to the university and then meeting these Buddhists, one thing that stayed with me and which I had to define, who created all of this? Who created all of this? So I asked the guy, I said, what is the purpose of life? What is the purpose of life? And he was stirring his herbal tea, and he was going round in his cup like this, stirring his herbal tea for about 2-3 minutes. And because you couldn't have anything that would impair your relationship with whatever created us. So that was the Buddhist, sort of concept of life, not to eat meat and not to harm animals and plants and so on and so forth. So after a bit, he answered, and he said, to contemplate the supreme nothingness. I said to him, but isn't that a contradiction in terms? Something that's supreme and incredible and almighty and all knowledgeable, that's what you're referring to, right? And then is nothing. It is nothing. So I started doing I continued doing the Buddhist meditation, but I'd left the philosophy behind because I couldn't understand it. He gave me a book called the Golden Sutras, which is a discussion between Buddha and his disciple, but I couldn't get past page 2 or 3 because I couldn't understand it. It was that complicated and confusing. And I said, if I can't understand it, and I've chosen to go to university and read lots, and I was reading loads of books on my own about philosophy. I was reading all the top philosophers and isms and schisms of the world. If I couldn't understand it, what about a guy who wasn't even interested in that? Would he understand this book? And he said, no, therefore it cannot be the truth. It's not being presented as the truth. So I moved away from it.
That is interesting. That is very, very interesting. Well, that episode has been very interesting, how you went through and you found all these different ways of life and you saw all these different things in life, and now your brain started clicking as to what is the reality, and everything else looked fake, doesn't make sense, not hakikat, not true. And now we're going to come to the real part of things, onto how it happened and how this hidayah came to you and where and when it came. But you know what?
Yeah.
Time just goes off clicking and ticking away with the clock. So we got to go on a short break again. 15 minutes is gone in the second segment. And we got to go on a short break. And when we come back, it'll be interesting to hear how it all unraveled and you took the Shahada, Alhamdulillah. And we want to hear a little bit about these organizations that you're involved with. The City Retreat Dawah Center, and I saw you have here that you're the co-founder of IERA.org. I see you also are working on something called establishing Eco Building Company. It will really be nice to hear a little bit about all these activities that you are involved in. So when we come back, we will touch a little bit on that. So to our viewers out there, once more, it is a pleasure, blessing to have with us on this program Brother Yusuf Chambers from the United Kingdom on my journey to Islam, as he shares his background and his path and his journey to Islam and his activities and dawah activities that he is involved. So stay tuned. When we come back, we will continue this conversation, inshallah.
Alhikmat Services Florida USA invites you to join our tour from Miami to Turkey to Medina and Mecca plus Umrah and Ramadan, which is equivalent to the blessings of Hajj. It will be from March 1st, 2024 to March 14th, 2024, led by Shaikh Shafayat. Cost per person is double for $37.50, triple for $36.50, and quad for $35.50. This includes airfare, hotels, transportation, as well as breakfast and dinner plus tours. It will be 5 nights in Turkey, 3 nights in Medina, and 3 nights in Mecca, but the cost of visas are not included. You will be visiting historic sites of Artul and Osman plus the Ottoman Empire, as well as visiting the Blue Mosque, Hagia Sophia, Topkapi Palace, plus many more sacred sites. For more information, please contact Alhikmat office at 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158. You could also email at alhikmat@alhikmat.com.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to my journey to Islam on Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. Once more, it is a pleasure to have with us on today's program Brother Yusuf Chambers from the United Kingdom. And Brother Yusuf has been telling us in the past 2 segments his upbringing, his experience, his travels, and where he has been and what he saw, and his mind and his thinking and his thoughts as he came on this journey or has been on this journey to Islam. So once more, welcome back to the show, Brother Yusuf. So tell us now exactly what happened and how this call came as you entered the fold of Islam.
Right. So, I mean, after a number of experiences, and it kind of relates to the story of Salman al-Farsi, where he goes from one believer to another person of faith. And I kept going all the way. And literally, these people would come to me. I wouldn't come to them. I met a girl in the street. She was from the Christian perspective. And then she took me to a place in Brighton. And she said, look, this is our community. And I remember being in there, and then it seemed like I was going to learn something about the purpose of life, and then suddenly some rock guitar guys came out on the stage and started strumming and drumming and singing, and then the whole crowd was like swaying, and apart from me, I was the only one stable like this, wondering what the hell's going on,
Wow, subhanallah, subhanallah, yes.
And
yes.
it was an experience, but it was something. It slightly worried me. I was a bit unearthed, and I remember then the guy started singing about Jesus, right? Mm-hmm. So he started singing and crazy rock stuff going on, and then he started pointing at different people in the crowd, and these people would fall down, shaking, and I remember thinking, well, maybe I'm next. Maybe he's going to point to me next. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I got a bit worried about it, and so I moved the chair back, and I ran out of the building because I was really scared.
Interesting, yeah.
So there was a kind of You know, it was a bit of a shocking thing for me because we were born in the Western, what do you call it, like lifestyle where everybody's stiff upper lip and you don't really talk to people too much. And then this kind of just, it didn't make sense to me. But anyway, it's like an American church.
Right.
Yeah, well, I think it was an American church, charismatic maybe. And I just thought this was a way of God to tell me that this wasn't for me. This wasn't going to teach me the purpose of life. It was going to entertain me maybe, and I was a good group of friends. And then I went to a Christian a bit later on, and I asked him, I said, what is the purpose of life? I knocked on the door, and it was a big church. It was built apparently the same specifications as Noah's Ark, this church in Lewis in Brighton. Knocked on the door, and the guy said to me, sorry, we're closed. I asked him, what's the purpose of life? He said, sorry, we're closed.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
So anyway, he said, come back on Monday morning. You know, this was like Friday night or something. Went back in the Monday morning, went to his office. I was very emotional. I was ready to pour my heart out. And I said, look, I need to know the purpose of life. You're Christians. You've got a relationship with God, the creator of the universe. Is it? Tell me about God. Tell me about what's the purpose of life. So he said to me, have you ever thought about doing a theology degree? Theology degree? Well, actually I did, because I looked into Trinity College Dublin, Ireland, and I was going to go there and study. But then when I read the syllabus, all it was just all of this dogmatic stuff that didn't answer the basic questions. Didn't go through, why are you here? Who created the universe? Why are you here? Didn't go through that. Yeah,
Right.
just went through all of the different, stuff that didn't make sense to me. So I turned it away. I said, look, I tried it and it didn't work for me. I tried it, honestly.
Okay.
He said, well, I don't think I can help you. I said, what? I said, he said, look, I'm running the church, okay? I said, in the morning, I open the door. If anyone wants to come in, I let them in. In the evening, I kick them out. I lock the door and I go home, and that's my job. I said, no. I said, look, there's got to be more to this life. He said, I can't help you. I'm really sorry. I'm just being honest with you. I don't know myself. So this was an actual, so these are my two interactions with Christianity. And then I kind of became very depressed. I started studying a lot of astronomy, and I started looking at the night sky. I started becoming an amateur astronomer, and started seeking out the planets and the stars and the night sky, and I would be obsessed with it. And I'd be reading about the nearest star, which is 4 light years away from us. The nearest star, which is Alpha Centauri, which is a human being can never get to the nearest star. And it would just start freaking me out in the night, and I'd have to take all sorts of narcotics and calm myself down, and just to get through life, I realized the enormity of this universe that we lived in, and we only know about 2-3% of the known universe and the unknown universes. So this started really troubling me. Anyway, I was at the university. So I tried to focus on my studies, and I was doing what they called then third world development and politics, and within the School of African and Asian Studies.
Yes.
I was doing that, and then I went away for a year to South Africa in the apartheid era, which was 1991 to 1994.
Yes.
I was in that era. I took 1 year out during that period at the university, and then I did some development work in Alexandra Township, and I started to implement some projects all those years back. And then I came back, and when I came back, I gave my papers in to the dean of the faculty, and he promptly lost them. He lost the whole thing, and very difficult to print things out then. Wasn't like now, you can print things out like this on every device. So as I got back, I realized that the university itself wasn't going to help me to do my development, because when I got back 6 months afterwards, I found that my project was taken over by Nampak, which is a big supermarket logistics company, Eskom, which is the telecommunications giant in South Africa, and the British Council. They'd taken over my job, my project, which was called Refuge for Development, Rubbish for Development. It was recycling rubbish and giving it back to the township, the owners of the township, so they could develop the township internally with schools and clinics and so on and so forth. When I came back, I realized they weren't interested in the development. They just wanted to talk about development. So it became very angry with the university and upset with my colleagues, and I realized it was just farcical nonsense. And I realized it was the World Bank, the monetary funds, and the UN and the UNHCR, all of them were sort of part of this infrastructure that was stopping development in Africa. They were stopping it. So this really made me then look into faith even more. Now, at that time, my only really outlet to faith was my girlfriend at the time, who, she was Malaysian, and in a split second, she told me that we were an item kind of thing. She said
so
to me,
she was Muslim. She was Muslim.
She was Muslim.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
So at that time, she then told me one day I was just with her in the flat, and she said to me, "Look, just to let you know, tomorrow you can't come here because there's some stuff going on." I said, "Well, what is it?" I said, "Explain to me, what is it? I mean, we're like friends, so if we're friends, we should share information." And she said to me, "Look, it's got something to do with my religion." So I said, "Well, I mean, I just said it out. It just came out. Either you're wrong or your religion is wrong. You can't just throw your friends out without telling them what's going on, and at least giving them prior notice. Tell me what's going on." So she said to me, "No, I can't. It's my religion, and that's all I can tell you." Mm-hmm. So in the morning, I went straight to the Islamic Society. I knocked on the door of the Islamic Society. I met a guy who was like with a thobe, a khutra, with a Saudi thobe on the Saudi headdress. Mm-hmm. And I said to him, "Look, I've got a problem with my girlfriend." So he said, "Yes, you will have a problem with your girlfriend. Tell me what this is all about." So he said, he explained to me that this is the faith of Islam and this is what we believe. And today's the first day of Ramadan. He said,
subhanallah, subhanallah. Yes.
So he said, "Look, read these books." So he gave me a pile of books like this. And I went away and I started reading about every aspect of Islam, the history of Islam, how to make wudu, how to pray, what is the Quran, who is the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and all of these different incredible subjects that were coming up. And within 2 weeks, I was pretty cognizant of what Islam was all about, which nobody had ever explained to me. And it turned out that I'd been sitting, of course, with a whole load of Muslims, but they'd never, ever explained. I'd lived with Muslims for 6 months, actually, in a house. I'd worked with Muslims. I'd socialized with Muslims. I was friends with Muslims. I didn't even know they were Muslims, right? And no one had ever took the time out to explain La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So anyway, at the end of that 2-week period, I went back to her, I knocked on her door and I said, "I want to apologize to you." I said, "It's not your religion, it's you. I said, I understand your religion because 1 + 1 = 2. It makes sense, one God. All the prophets came and gave that same message of one God, of Tawheed, and why didn't I know about this before?" So she then kind of rejected me. Then I started reading more and more to get closer to her, right?
Right, yes.
I started getting, more and more. I started reading. And then at the end of towards the end of the last 10 days of Ramadan.
Yes.
I didn't know it was the last 10 days of Ramadan. Didn't even really know much about Ramadan, because, you know, all I know is about fasting month. I didn't realize that the Quran was revealed.
But you made a very important point there, and that's something that, you know, we try to emphasize a lot to the Muslims. Here at you, among many Muslims for many months, and no one took the opportunity to tell you about Islam, to invite you to the path, you know, spread the word. And that is a very sad situation in the Muslim world. And it continues to be like that. And I try to remind myself and tell people all the time, don't take things for granted. And this has been a major fall and downfall in the Muslim world, where they do not take this opportunity to spread the message of Islam. But anyhow, I know we're just about 2-3 minutes away from concluding the program. We are really in a countdown. So tell us how it happened, this miraculous thing, how it all happened, and you accepted Shahada.
So then one day I was in London with some friends, and all of this was going on around in my head, and I had some books. I started reading about, you know, purification. I started washing myself, cleaning myself that night. And then the whole night I was making wudu, I was trying to make ghusl, to wash myself of whatever was inside me. And in the morning, I just went and I just started asking people, where's the local mosque? I need to go to the mosque.
Subhanallah.
Yeah, it was just a very impulsive thing that whole night I felt that I was just like going through this cleansing process, and found a mosque. I went in and I took Shahada, and I got hugged by 300 guys. I've never been hugged by a guy before.
Subhanallah, subhanallah.
Yeah. So literally it was that's my story, and that's where it all begins, actually.
Subhanallah.
You know, that's where the story begins.
That's where it begins. So you know what, brother Yusuf? I think we may have to do another show, another show on just your activities after accepting Islam. So one is my journey to Islam, and we may have to do another show, show on life after accepting Islam, accepting Islam. But in the 2 minutes or 3 minutes that we have, I know we have already gone over a minute or two, but we'll have to do something here. Tell us a little bit, just in about 2-3 minutes again, about the city retreat dawah activities that you do. What is this all about in London, in the United Kingdom, actually?
Okay, because a lot of people, they talk about the dawah. We do the dawah. And what do we mean by doing the dawah? We mean enacting Islam, activating Islam. So our focus is on doing activities which show Islam in a very positive way,
right?
And invite people to come to us and be part of our community. So if it means feeding the poor, looking after the homeless, cleaning up the streets, you know, doing some social activities together, teaching each other how to save a life, which is through, you know, like Red Cross professional, you know, training programs, you know, whatever it is, whatever we can bring of benefit to the wider community in the town center of Leicester, right in the town center, not in the Muslim community.
Right.
This is the other thing, which is the dawah was always, the Prophet ﷺ used to take the dawah to the places where he would have big influence, as much influence as possible, in the marketplaces, next to the Kaaba, wherever it was, where the people would congregate and gather on their festival days, whatever it was. But that's the same, the whole thing is to show and act and, you know, activate Islam, activate dawah activation. So it's about making it happen. And from there, we found a lot of people that just naturally flock to us when they want to know about Islam, when they got issues with Muslims, when they got issues with non-Muslims with Muslims, vice versa. They come to us. So we get a lot of women that are married to non-Muslims, and we have to deal with them. We have a lot of non-Muslims that have got real issues with Muslims, and we have to deal with them. We've got a lot of non-Muslims that want to accept Islam, and we have to explain Islam to them. You know, and we have a lot of shahadas on that basis, alhamdulillah, by the tawfiq of the Creator.
No, that is really interesting. I like that. I really like that sort of city activities that you all do, it creates that impact and that impression in the hearts of people, and it brings people to you all, and that's how they ask and they come to know more about Islam. Listen, that is really, really, really a blessing. Well, brother, brother Yusuf, this has been a wonderful journey. Your beginning and your journey through your college days and your school days and your bringing, it has really been a pleasure and a blessing to hear, your background and your journey to Islam. Well, time is out. We are really gone beyond time. But what would you like to share with us in just about 30 seconds before we conclude the show, inshallah? But as I said, bi'idhnillah, we will have another program once more. We will have another program, another talk show on some of these dawah activities that you do worldwide. I know you have a list of activities that you do with other organizations and other countries. We would definitely want to have you back to talk about your activities after becoming a Muslim, inshallah. So tell us in 30 seconds before we conclude the show, what would you like to share with us?
Yeah, I mean, essentially it's what we do at the City Retreat, which is rather than talking at non-Muslims, talking about Islam to Muslims, go out and practice Islam in the public arena. What does that mean? That means feeding the poor, means spreading the salam. So the Prophet ﷺ said, the best form and aspect of Islam is to feed people and spread the salams. That's something that everyone can do. Everyone worth their weight in gold who refers to himself as a Muslim, you can go out and do that. And the month of Ramadan's right round the corner, and this is the best time to do it right now. And that is the simplest, most succinct and accurate message I can give an account of the Deen of Islam.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much. Jazakallah, brother Yusuf Chambers, for taking the time to be with us on this show, My Journey to Islam on Alhikmat TV, 24/7 online. It's really a blessing to have had you with us, and I know you got volumes to share with the world and our viewers worldwide on your activities after becoming a Muslim. So we would definitely have to get you back on this show so we can talk. I always hear a lot, and we have seen a lot about your activities in different countries and in the United Kingdom, etc. So we hope that you would be available to come back with us on a show in the near future, inshallah. So to our viewers there, it has been a pleasure talking to Brother Yusuf Chambers from the United Kingdom. He is the founder of City Retreat Dawah Center in the UK. He gave us a wonderful journey of his lifetime and how he ended up accepting Islam. So until then, it's always a pleasure to have you viewers online and looking at us all over social media, etc. So always remember to stay tuned to Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Get everything you need at Fens Agri Center and Hardware Superstore, located at 243 Southern Main Road, Marabella. We carry a wide selection of hardware and agri products. Visit us in-store or call 650-3367.
Alhikmat Services Florida USA invites you to join our tour from Miami to Turkey to Medina and Mecca plus Umrah and Ramadan, which is equivalent to the blessings of Hajj. It will be from March 1st, 2024 to March 14th, 2024, led by Shaikh Shafayat. Cost per person is double for $37.50, triple for $36.50, and quad for $35.50. This includes airfare, hotels, transportation, as well as breakfast and dinner plus tours. It will be 5 nights in Turkey, 3 nights in Medina, and 3 nights in Mecca, but the cost of visas are not included. You will be visiting historic sites of Artul and Osman plus the Ottoman Empire, as well as visiting the Blue Mosque, Hagia Sophia, Topkapi Palace, plus many more sacred sites. For more information, please contact Alhikmat office at 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158. You can also email at alhikmat@alhikmat.com. Casa Nouveau Investments in Guyana. Sharia Bacchus, CEO of Casa Nouveau Investments. Brokering of sales and rentals, commercial properties, industrial properties, residential properties, and land. Property management, property development, interior design, and real estate investment consultancy. For more information, please call at 954-326-9537 or 592-643-5948. You can also email at shariabacchus3@gmail.com. Dawah and Interfaith Institute presents for the first time in U.S.A. Dawah and Interfaith training with education in world religions from religious professors and spiritual leaders of different faiths. This is a 6-month weekend course designed for brothers and sisters local, national, and international who are seeking to learn the importance of Dawah and better understanding of faith and cultures. For more information, please contact 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158. You can also contact via email at alhikmat@alhikmat.com or visit our website www.alhikmat.com. Linda M. Kaplan, PA, an immigration law firm. Over 40 years of legal services in immigration and naturalization matters. Contact her at 305-670-7665. Once again, 305-670-7665, or email her at lk@lindakaplan.com or visit her website lindakaplan.com. You can also contact for more details the Alhikmat office at 954-986-0158 or 1-800-804-0267. You can also reach out to them via email at alhikmat@alhikmat.com, the website www.alhikmat.com, and visit the Alhikmat TV www.alhikmattv.com. Alhamdulillah, for free copies of the Holy Quran, contact Alhikmat Caribbean office at 1-868-325-8276. You can also follow us on Alhikmat TV, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, etc. For more information, you can also contact Alhikmat's Florida USA office. You can visit our website at www.alhikmat.com or call us at 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158.
Allaah,